Good morning. I'm going to start this video as kind of a part two to the first rich one, and there'll be more joy clips in this one. And yeah, so let's just jump into that.
No, I remember.
Is my burgers around somewhere?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'll make you some more. I'll make you another pound. Okay, I'm making some more for you. I ate
She
one of
ate
these
his
burgers.
food?
Okay, I'll make you another round. I remember I went up September 24th, 2002, and my dad and stepmom took me, and they take you. I entered from Los Angeles, and they took me to a hotel. Like is where they dropped me off because then we slept for the night at a hotel and then we left in the morning. We flew to Texas. I guess in the morning is, but my dad got me like a JanSport backpack. I remember, and you only went to basic training was just like a backpack, and I went with my hair down, and I didn't realize that was going to be an issue because I had really long hair. And I remember like I was really, my mom unfortunately didn't get to take me because she was in Northern California, but my dad and stepmom took me, and it was really sad when they left. I remember that night because I was like, oh gosh, I'm going to military. But then I was really excited until I literally got to basic training and they line you up right away and they immediately start screaming at you and you're like, oh, we're starting now. Like, I was like, oh, I didn't get the memo, we're starting now. And so I got immediately screamed out about my hair. Like, why were you thinking I'm gonna get your hair down in my straight? And they were like, cuss you and say all kinds of crazy stuff. But I remember being a little bit shocked how quickly it started. Like, oh, we don't get any like warning, not like, hey.
Does anyone notice like there's different to Joy and Rich? There's ups and downs to them, right? But this one where Joy like starts getting really lazy with her voice and like gets kind of Valley girlish, that's when she's like really fucked up on something. And sometimes I think she's just drinking booze at night. I could totally be wrong because people say some type of downer or something, but what if she just is like throwing them back? Because she gets so splotchy and red too. But I could be wrong. But sometimes I think she's still a drunk, especially when they went to that hotel the other evening with Crystal Bananimals, or I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But she seemed drunk that night too. But who knows? None of my business.
It's like, you get used to it. But yeah, you're immediately like flirting, like, okay, it's starting. And I remember the first thing you can't smile. They tell you no smiling, which was a huge issue for me. They probably didn't help with like, I smiled so much until the military. They had to like, it was difficult for me. I kept getting in trouble at first. Like in the first like week, they're pretty flexible with like getting in trouble. You don't really get in trouble. They kind of, like, don't do that again kind of thing. So, cause they give you a little flex room. So I never actually got in trouble, but early on they yell at you about things and then until you kind of figure it out. And so, they at first were getting at me for smiling cause I would just smile or like, I remember the first time I didn't put my hat on and I didn't think about it. And, I walked out we were bringing our uniforms to dry cleaning because in the military, not in the military, in basic training, you send to dry cleaning because you don't have time to wash the clothes. You send them to dry cleaning, and then you have to do all the folding. But anywho, I walked out of the dry cleaning space and I forgot to put my hat on. They call you cap, and I remember they were like, "Tranny, did you forget something?" And I was like, and I reacted, and that gets you in trouble. Like reacting, like, so you kind of lose your military, 'cause you're supposed to keep it all like, no smiling, no reacting, no keep a straight face. And they're like, yeah, and I remember, so He yelled at me but I caught on real quick because I ended up getting honor grad in basic training, so I never actually got in trouble. But early on, I got yelled at quite a bit for things like that, and they were like, "I don't understand why you keep smiling. This isn't something to smile about." But I just smiled, and I would smile about. Sorry, it was hard for me. Also, it was weird. Like, I immediately was hated by the other people because in week 2, I think it was, everyone got disqualified for undergrad except for me. Which sucked. And they told everyone. So it was like, oh, everyone except for trainee Kirkpatrick is disqualified. So what do you think that made everyone want to do? He's gang up on me. Because no one wants someone else to be the one person to get it. If they can't get it, they don't want anyone else to have it. Just like, y'all. And be some of y'all, not some of y'all, and all y'all, some of y'all. And so, I got gung up so much. So I had to really, really watch myself. So I remember one time, I was going to the bathroom. They put like 3 girls in charge. They have one be the dorm master, and then the other 2 or 3 little assistants. And these girls get a head trip because they just were randomly picked, and then they think they're so much better than everybody. So this one girl, her last name was Hazel Baker, and she was one of those dorm room monitor people or whatever. And so I was going to the bathroom. I was pooping literally after we had just, and she's yelling at me, and I'm like, excuse me, give me a second, and she's like, you tell me to come in. I was like, literally, I like trying to poo. And then, so I finally gave her a little attitude. I just was like, could you give me a second, And, oh dear, she just lost it. She go running into the drill sergeant, gonna write me up. She yelled, and he's like, well, what was the scenario? And she's like, well, she was in the stall, and she was pooing. And he's like, well, you were bothering her, I mean, even he had, like, so I didn't get written up for that. But, like, he was like, you could clearly tell she was just trying to, like, get me in trouble. It's like, you were bothering her. Like, she was literally trying to take a poop, and you were, like, instigating her. And so I didn't get in trouble for that. But that was the only thing that this one girl, she was, like, running and go. Literally, because I was like, can you give me a second, like, with attitude? Because you can't give any attitude. You can't have any attitude. You can't, like, be sarcastic. You have to be like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hazel Baker. And so I gave her some attitude, and she just lost it. But yeah, even my drill sergeant was on my side on that one. He was like, because she was always instigating me, this girl. I mean, she was so mad that she got disqualified because she wanted to be.
So this person here, Jenna Rue, we're here. Jenna Rue is a writer. And she's very, very fascinated with your story. Now she understands we're not going to maybe get a book deal or anything like that, but she just loved to talk and chat.
Oh, that's great.
Wherever.
That would be great.
Because, when too early to make any switch. But, anyways, Jenna Rue, joy.
Awesome. Okay, that is awesome. That's so good news. I'm going to make you food real quick. So why don't we get that? Why don't you get it moved over here? I'm going to make you some food.
Okay. We're going to do late night dinner. We haven't done a dinner scope in a while.
Let's go.
She'll probably end up. Here's what's gonna happen. You guys are gonna.
Okay, so this one doesn't have much long to go, but I wanted to talk about when she looks back on these memories about being in the Air Force and stuff. It's almost like she always wants to look like the victim, which they want to look like all the time. In any story they have, they're always the victim or the hero. There's never anything in between. It is the strangest thing.
Talk and then I'm gonna say, look, we can't do this. We can't. And she's gonna, I don't care. And she's because you guys are gonna get along, or you won't. But if you don't get along, then you probably wouldn't want to write the book anyways. Can you imagine? I can't stand this person, but shit, her story's so fascinating. I gotta write it. Rick, she's gonna renovate the house. Come on, it's on the phone. Shit talk, Joy, literally. My husband. Oh, I'm just reading every comment. Oh. Jim, do you have to talk a lot of hours to get anything worth writing? Is that right? I don't know anything about book writing. Your sister's kind of a writer, right, Joy?
Oh no, not like officially. She just
But-
likes writing. So.
But she's a good poet. Like, she's written stories and books and stuff.
She has been published for poems, but
Published, right.
but for poems, not by herself, like with other people, like in poem books. It wasn't her own, or not just her
Yeah.
own. It was like other people's. She got in a book with other people.
Oh, that's kind of weird. She was saying, someone was saying, not the writer, but someone else saying, when someone does a biography on the other person, that writer almost becomes, would have to become joy, like in order to write you know what I mean? So they get really in your shit.
Oh, I see.
They become you,
Yeah.
because they have to write your story.
They
They have,
tell the news.
right, so they have to know how you would think, because they're writing it for you. They're writing it like a biography about you. Otherwise, it would just be like
An autobiography.
yeah, it'd be an autobiography. Yeah, exactly. I don't really know. That's what someone said. January all sounds interesting to me. A ghostwriter, right. Because that's the first step. Once we get a book going, then I can take that, right, January, right? We take that, we take it to a person that can write we take it to like a producer, like, right, Hollywood, right? Is that how it works, or do we do a manuscript first? Do we got to make it to we got to go to a screen? We got to convert it from a book to a screen, like for a script and shit, for them to read it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the process, man. I'm new to this industry. I'm new to this industry, bro.
To book writing.
Yeah, to book writing. I'm very eager to learn though. Mets, nice, man. I wanted to watch that. Thanks for filling me in, Jared.
What happened?
Mets beat Red Sox 4-1.
No way.
I know. I want to watch the
Are
game
they
tonight.
on a roll this year?
They are. They've been winning. I think it has something to do with my hat.
My mom would just love that. My mom always talked about when they won the World Series. My mom is the biggest Mets fan ever. So did my grandpa. My grandpa,
like
I don't
accent.
think went a day of his life without wearing some sort of Mets thing. He usually wore a Mets hat and a Mets jacket. When he wasn't working, that was what he wore. But I don't think he ever didn't have something on it with Mets. Whether it be a Mets t-shirt, Mets hat.
I probably need to get you a microphone if you want to talk. Probably a little loud with that.
Okay, so I just skipped to the part that I thought I wanted to watch
Say what?
with this clip.
Can you explain to these folks how you guys have to pick your battles with Annette due to her disorder? Like perhaps brushing her hair. She may be overstimulated. Like how do you deal with like these little things you do, like the feet, the hair?
We just play by ear every day because Annette doesn't like to be bothered very much, if you guys haven't noticed. She really doesn't like to feel like she's helpless. So like us going in there and cleaning her room, doing her feet, any of those things, it makes her feel helpless. So yeah, we have to do it very rarely. Otherwise, like if we did it every day, she doesn't like it. She doesn't like feeling, like when we used to have to cut her food, like crazy, like now we still do, but not to the level, like it was pretty bad. Richard was having to cut it and like literally like feed her early on when she was just like being so obstinate to eating, like, and so distracted, like you'd have to literally feed her, and that was not good. And now we're giving her more and more freedom. So the problem with that is certain things she needs, like her feet done more often, but we don't push her. You know, eventually we'll step in if it's like, okay, now it really needs to be done. So we finally got her hair brushed, which was cool, but we were just letting it be for, because you know what, we're like, as much as she needed it brushed, she didn't want it brushed. So like, it's like, it was up to her. But she finally the other day decided that she wanted brushed, so that really worked out. But yeah, there's certain things like when it comes to her medicine, that's why we have to keep her on it, because if she gets off of it, we only have so much say once she doesn't want to take it.
Here's another one.
You know what I mean? But if
Like caffeine versus cigarettes. Like why caffeine and not cigarettes?
okay, well, Annette with her cigarettes, that would be like, you can't take those from her. That's the one thing. Her the cigarettes and Diet Coke are just her thing. I don't know why. That's been her thing for a long time. So those we've never tried to mess with. But the caffeine, the issue with the caffeine is it literally makes her berserk, where the cigarettes don't. So that's why we allow those still. But like the cigarettes, but it doesn't make her berserk. Like, if anything, it relaxes her. whereas the caffeine makes her berserk. And the caffeine Diet Coke was making her berserk, so we went caffeine free. She wasn't super stoked on the caffeine free at first, as it probably tasted different, but she got used to it. She didn't say anything. You could just tell she drank less. She used to drink a lot more when it was caffeine Diet Coke. Like, she went through so much because she was just down in the caffeine. She was so addicted to caffeine. But when we switched to caffeine free, she went through them a little bit slower. So I was like, she didn't like them nearly as much. But that's good because she was drinking way too much caffeine. So he said he wants these. He likes it rare. I think these are done. They cook pretty fast. These are from Walmart. So I went this morning and I bought.
Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about, because I wanted to talk about how joy, and I'm not a perfect person. Like, me pointing this out about joy is in no way saying I could do it better. I'd try better maybe, but no, I'm not trying to say that I'm any better than anybody. But Joy saying that she knows what Annette's feeling and she knows this, and Annette feels like she feels helpless. That's baloney. Because we know that Annette has her own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, especially the time that Rich was screaming at him in the living room and she's like, I didn't spend any money. We know Annette can express herself. And I think earlier in the beginning when she was expressing herself, they stopped her. They told her not to be talking like that anymore. They told her, stop disagreeing with us, to the point where all Annette does anymore is say, okay. That's all we see Annette do anymore. All right. And just answer the questions they want answered. We hear her doing her little kind of like ruminating thoughts. We hear those things, but we don't ever see her disagree with Rich and Joy. And I think that is on purpose. But yeah, we'll watch the other clip. If any of these feel a little jumpy, it's because I took out the super boring part. That's all.
Always. And that's why we have these big ass cords, these 10. Always. And that's why we have these big ass cords, these 10-foot things. So I like to be able to have them charging and use them at the same time. So I'll sit in really uncomfortable spots just so I can charge my stuff. I'll be like, why am I doing this? Just because I don't want to unplug my phone and sit there. When I sit at home. It's not like I need my phone. Like I'm going to die if it's not. It just literally, I can't stand and my phone's not at 100%. That's how like weirdly OCD I am. Like, oh dear, we're hitting 99. No, right now I'm so mad. It's literally this is driving me insane because I've been listening to this, and guess what, you guys? What are we at? It does not tell me. When does it tell you? Where does it tell you the number? It just shows the thing. But look, it is really, oh no. That is way below what I would like. But where does it say the number? Isn't it supposed to say percentage? Psh, psh. Stupid thing. Yeah, this is like bad. I'm about ready to go get my other headphones. I can't handle this. I'm serious. I am like insanely OCD. And I live here. Oh, this morning, you guys. I've been trying to avoid the kitchen for 2 days. I was like, I'm going to let Gloria have her say. Oh! I almost had a heart attack this morning. I said, oh, dear Lord. I couldn't let it go 2 days again. That was not a good idea. It was so bad. Things were so caked on stuff. Like, she left the pancake mix from like 2 days ago in a container out. So it was like so stuck to this. I was like, oh, what was I thinking? I cannot leave it for 2 days. So, that's just Gloria. I'm not even complaining anymore. It's just Gloria. She's just not a clean person. Cleanliness is not her forte. My mom was a clean freak. So, and my mom was like, that's what she did for a living. My parents are actually janitors. when I was young for most of my life. And then my dad became an X-ray tech when he left my mom. But they were janitors and worked in the church, so they did both things. And they when they were in college, they did like the cleaning in the night where there was like the full on where it was like the big extensive, like where you did like the big businesses and stuff. You know, you go in there. It was my mom, her brother, and my dad. It was a cleaning crew. They go clean all these businesses. And then when I was young, my mom primarily just cleaned houses and cleaned the school. But yeah, when that was before I was born. But my dad, he always had really sporadic jobs when I was young. That's what drove my mom nuts. So he just kept like switching jobs. And then after my parents got divorced, my dad never changed his job. So he became an X-ray tech, and that's all he's been since he left my mom. He left my mom in 1991, and he has not changed his job. But prior to that, when my mom and dad were married, my dad changed his job like 24/7. So it was part of my parents' issues. Was my dad never had a stable job, and now he's had the most stable job. Like Richard makes fun of him, the fact that my dad he will not change his job. Like they try to promote my dad, he doesn't want to be promoted. He doesn't want to do anything but take X-rays. So like they're like, so he's like the oldest. He's 65, still taking X-rays. He loves it. Everyone else that he works with are like in their 20s and stuff. He loves taking X-rays, and he's really good at it. So.
Okay, I'm gonna be petty. So her dad and Rich aren't that far apart in age, 10 years. That doesn't feel like much compared to like other marriages. And then I wanted to talk about Joy's bandanas. I know this is gonna be petty. I shouldn't make fun of her, la-di-da-di-da. But you know how babies with stuck out ears get their ears pinned back? I don't think Joy's parents got that done, and that's why I think she wears the bandanas, because they stick out a little, which, dude, I totally understand. And the bandanas are kind of cute. Like, I totally understand why she wears them. At least it works for what she's trying to do, but I think that's why she wears the bandanas, because she has the stick out where the babies usually get them pinned back at some point. And then one more thing. This is not our normal Joy personality at night. And this is like kind of a normal personality. She doesn't seem that messed up. She doesn't seem speedy. She doesn't seem drunk. And that's what I think she is before bed. I think she drinks before bed. It could be a different like pill or drug or whatever. But I am starting to think Joy's drunk because she's always so red. But who knows? It could be her eating disorder. Anyway.
It should be at this point. But my dad, he gets off on it because it's taking photos. He likes photography. So my dad loves photography, but this is hilarious. I'm really into photography. I actually was the one that got Richard kind of into photography, and now he's like...
One more thing. When Joy was talking about her mom and dad cleaning and her mom cleaning the schools, she didn't mention herself that time. Remember her rant last week about, I've been having to clean my whole life. You didn't clean as a kid.
Like super into it. Now he's like way into it more than me. But I took photography when I was very young in like 5th grade at the Christian school. I took a photography class. And my stepdad actually let me use his camera at the time. He had one of them big Canons that back then you had to do everything. Nothing was automatic. You know, you have to do the f-stop, you have to do all that stuff. And my dad had one of those cameras, but my dad lived in LA at the time. And so I used my stepdad's. But my dad, those old cameras, you didn't know if they had film in them or not unless you opened it. Like they didn't have like the little viewfinder to see if you had film. So my dad would never want to find out if he had film or not, because once you opened it, you ruined your film if there was film in it. So he'd be like, I hope there's film in it. And so we would do like extensive things. My dad was really into cars. We would go to car events, like car shows and rallies. We'd go to the World Rally Championships all the time, WRC. My dad loves Subarus. And so he would film all of this stuff, like tons of stuff. We'd go to all these events and stuff. And either there would be no film in the camera, or he didn't finish it, and then someone opened it and exposed it all. So pretty much there's no photos from like years and years and years of my dad taking photos. But they would never, ever end up getting developed because they'd either get ruined because someone would finally open it and not know that there was film in there, or he would be taking all these photos without film in the camera. So it was just this crazy thing. We'd be like, Dad, is there film? And he's like, I don't know. Hope so. I'm like, well, yeah, because once you opened it, you'd ruin whatever was on, so you would never want to know. And it was like this weird thing where like my dad would take so many photos, but I remember he took all these photos for my sister's graduation. No film in the camera. She was so mad. I mean, this was like, I don't think I've ever seen a developed role from my father. Like, I don't think I've ever seen like a role that got from me that he took. I just remember him taking photos and it either being there was not film in the camera or someone ruined the roll by opening the back of the camera. But I don't think I've ever seen a developed roll of film from my father. Ever. And he took a lot of photos. It's the craziest thing. It's a crazy concept to think about. I'm like, Dad, I guess he just enjoyed taking the photo. Like, he didn't care about, like, if there was a photo afterwards. It was just, like, it's fun. That was, I mean, that's what he does with his job. I guess he doesn't really see, he takes the x-rays and then hands them to the doctors. So, I don't know. I just usually would like to see the photos if you take them. But, I don't know. But photography's always been really big for me. So my dad got me my first camera when I was in 8th grade. I was valedictorian of 8th grade. I went to a Christian school. It was a private school, but it was a small school. It was at the church.
Of 8th grade.
And there was only about 150 kids in the whole school. But I was valedictorian of 8th grade, so my dad got me a camera. It was this little Olympus. It was a little 32 millimeter, but it had a little tripod and a remote. So I became obsessed with making everybody pose with this tripod and remote, like everywhere we went, because it was this tiny little tripod. So we would go like out in the wilderness, like on hikes and stuff, and I would like prop it up on rocks and get the whole family to pose and stuff. And it did like these panoramic photos and everything. I became like obsessed with this, and it was so funny. And I had that camera, honestly, until in our storage unit. I still had it. I showed it to Richard. I wish we still had it. It was this cute little thing. But that was kind of the beginning of my photography. And when I was in the Air Force, I was the one that took like all the photos. Like, and what I would do is I would get 3 rolls. This is for youngins. This is prior to digital. Digital barely existed. It was starting to exist, but I didn't have a digital camera. But I had a 35 millimeter, and I would get 3 sets of the photos. Whenever I would take them into the Walgreens or whatever, I would ask for 3. So then I would hand them out to my friends, because I would take photos at when we'd all be hanging out. But that's kind of how we did it. But then they were starting to do where they put the photos on a CD-ROM and or CD, whatever. And
Digital?
I lost all of my photos, albums, and when we went to the cave, they were in the car that got stolen. All of my old photos from the Air Force and stuff, I had like so many photos. That's what people were like. But I have a little bit because Richard had put a couple of those CDs into the computer and had saved some of the photos before I lost all my albums. So I'm really happy about that. Otherwise, I would have no photos. I don't have very many. He only had done a couple because I still had these. You got them from like the Walgreens. They sent you home with the actual photos and then like this little CD with your photos on there. And thankfully he did that. Otherwise, I would not have like one photo from my past or of my mom either. And so I'm very thankful. He just happened in one day, he was like, I should scan these and put them on the computer. I'm so glad he did that. Otherwise, I literally would have lost everything in all my mom's photo albums too. I used to have all those, and I don't have any of that. And I would not even have one photo of my mom if it was Richard, so I'm very thankful he did that. But my sister sent me some photos the other day, so I guess I could share, but she doesn't have very many either because I actually had all the albums. I had my mom's albums, and now they're lost forever. That was the only thing I had of my mom's was her albums, and that's the only thing I care about. I wanted her photo albums, and they're all gone, and it sucks. And that's like a really big to me, but so I'm happy I still have some of the photos. Luckily Richard had scanned some of them. He even scanned some, and then he did the CDs with the other ones, so that was cool. Otherwise, I'd have no photos of my mom. Yeah, because I still, when I got with Richard, I still had all of our photo albums and everything. That was pretty cool. We've had 2 storage units since we've been together, and now we don't have either. So like all the stuff that was in the storage units is now dispersed in different ways, and it was funny. We kind of like throughout the years like kept taking the stuff out of the storage units, and then be like, we should have just left it in the storage unit. Like anything we ever took out of our storage unit ended up getting lost in some. When he was dying, he wanted Gloria to her husband the entire time he was alive. Like, when he was dying, he wanted Gloria to be at the casinos because he wanted her to leave him alone. He was dying a time he was alive.
Okay, I wanted to talk about this. I thought I had something else on here on this about this video, but I must not have. Next time. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the way Joy sits in her videos like this, or stands, or lays, or anything. And when some of the older videos and posts about Rich, I think Rich and Joy started filming and thought they were gonna become porn directors or sexual photography, or like something like that. I do not know the right word for it, but I think that's what they thought they were gonna do, and I think they tried to do it a lot, and I think that's why they do the OF and other kind of content like that. And so she knows she's sitting like this because Rich does it too. Rich does that in the bathtub. Like when they were really losing viewers, they wanted to always sit in the bathtub. They know exactly what they're doing, and it's so gross. And then there was another one I wanted to talk about. Sorry. Yeah, I can't remember, but they definitely know what they're doing. They definitely want to put themselves out like they will do anything for money. I mean, look at her job, but still. Rich and Joy will do anything, and I think that shows what kind of people they really are. That they will lie to you, they will scam you, they will con you, they'll do anything for $1. So why wouldn't they screw you over? It's just watch your back, because they're not watching anyone's but their own.
Anything we ever took out of our storage unit ended up getting lost in some. When he was dying, he wanted Gloria to her husband the entire time he was alive. Like, when he was dying, he wanted Gloria to be at the casinos because he wanted her to leave him alone. He was dying of cancer, and he was like, please just go to the casino, leave me alone. So he would ask Richard to send his mom money, because Richard was running the businesses in Portland and sending his parents thousands and thousands of dollars a month for Gloria to go gambling. And so Richard's father would request that because he wanted Gloria to just leave him alone, because he didn't want her to be around because she's so annoying. While he was dying, he's like, just leave me alone, please. Because she started making fun of him. While he was dying, Richard's father started writing. He wanted to become a writer while he was dying of cancer, and Gloria started making fun of him, making fun of the fact that he wanted to be a writer while he was dying. So if you guys keep like defending this woman, she was mocking her husband while he was dying of cancer. And she's like, you're stupid. You can never be a writer. What's wrong with you? While he was dying of cancer. His last wish is maybe just to be a writer. And Gloria mocked him and made fun of him. So when you guys like defend Gloria.
How does Joy know this? There is no way Joy was not there. So just so happens that Gloria was super petty to a dying man. Joy's so full of crap, she stinks.
Dying of cancer. His last wish is maybe just to be a writer, and Gloria mocked him and made fun of him. So when you guys like defend Gloria, I just want you to know the caliber and character of a woman that you're defending. She mocked her dying husband's last wishes of becoming a writer while he was dying. And he did write some really amazing stuff. We have it. It's in emails and stuff. Richard has it. He's actually a really good writer. But that's how she treated, and then she spent all the time at the casino. And what she told me when I first met her is that he OD'd himself on the pills, from his cancer pills, because he didn't want to live anymore with Gloria. But she will never tell me that again. And we've said that to her, and she said, how dare you say that he died of cancer? I was like, well, you told me he OD'd, so saying what you told me. So I don't know. I don't know which it is. His death certificate says pneumonia and cancer.
So there goes Joy again. But this time it's Gloria's making up something about a death. Boom, right there. Joy does it. Joy makes up different deaths for people and says that stuff, not Gloria. So you know Joy's lying about it. Because if that's so bad to claim a different death than what's on the certificate, Joy does that for everybody. It's Joy making that shit up, but I'll shut up.
So I don't know. I don't know which it is. His death certificate says pneumonia and cancer. Something like that. So, I don't know. But Gloria is not someone that should be caring for someone. So if someone is dying, Gloria is not the one that should be caring. Or if someone has a mental disorder like Annette. And did you know Gloria, while she was supposed to be caring for Annette, to make extra money so she could gamble, she got herself a second job, or got herself a job, I should say, a job. Her second job, in the sense, her first job was supposed to be to take care of Annette, which she didn't do, was being a caretaker for other people. It was called Paradise Home Care. She was working for this place called Paradise Home Care. You guys can look it up, you trolls. She was working there, and she got fired, because guess what? Gloria was stealing from her clients. Yep, little Saint Gloria. Saint Gloria? Yeah. Gloria, who you guys act like we steal from her, is the one who is the thief and the liar. And all we're doing is paying her bills, which she wasn't paying, because she was stealing from even the utilities. Like, if you sign up for utilities and don't pay them, technically you're stealing from utilities, you're stealing from the garbage, you're stealing from credit card companies, you're stealing from the bank. Technically you're stealing from all of those things when you sign up, and instead of paying your bills, you decide to go gambling. And then when your bills aren't paid, you just assume those companies are just going to eat it and deal with it. And because you're a little old lady, her excuse for years was that her husband died and she has a schizophrenic daughter. His wife, she never had money. So she would call all of these companies, and most of them would give her pass after pass after pass after pass after pass. But after 12 years, they got tired of hearing Gloria's sob story about her daughter and her dead husband. So it didn't work anymore. So that's when we had to step in, because no one was accepting her sob story, and she had no more get out of jail free cards, in a sense. And the DA wanted to put her in jail, and they were foreclosing on her house, and there was multiple liens on the house. And she hadn't paid any of her bills, and she had just turned in the Porsche into the mechanic and owed them $10,000, and they were going to keep her car. And her other car wasn't running. When we got here.
Okay, look how gross the counter is. And Joy cleans it a lot, so you know that's just from cooking those burgers. It matches the same color on the walls. And when you watch the old videos, it's a nicer house and the walls look pretty and everything else. And then they turn yellow a bit. Is that just from cooking those burgers? They have single-handedly cooked so many burgers 4 or 5 times a day that they destroyed, with bad ventilation, destroyed that home with just their cooking grease for their burgers. That is so gross. And it is. It's from the burgers. And like, I don't think it's from smoking weed, but somebody tell me, but still.
Gloria's car had 4 flat tires. And she just had it that way. She was just like, thought that she could just keep putting air in them and stuff and drive around. I mean, she was a total degenerate, like someone that, it was like how a drug addict lives. Like, she would put air in her tires to go to the casino. I mean, it wasn't that she couldn't afford to get her tires fixed. It was when she got money, she went to the casino instead of getting her tire fixed. You know how you see, like, the junkies' cars? They drive around and they're terrible and nothing's fixed and they're jump-starting their car and stuff? That was Gloria. I mean, that was her house. It looked like a drug addict's house. because it was an addict's house, a gambling addict's house. And people like to think gambling is so much better than drugs, though, like, you guys excuse gambling. I'm telling you, the condition of the house, you would have thought she was on heroin. I thought she was for a while. I actually thought she was. I was like, Richard, your mom has to be doing drugs. She has to be doing drugs. Like, she's insane. Like, she's not. It was just gambling. Just gambling. I mean, it's like, how can someone let the place go to this level if they're not on drugs? Because, like, you go, how can you, like, because with gambling, I don't understand, like, you're not, like, with drugs, like, sometimes you can go out of your mind. So that's why people, like, don't realize what's going on, you know what I mean? Because they're, like, literally out of their mind. But she's of coherent mind, just gambling. It's just a habitual addiction. It's not even a physical addiction. She's not even physically addicted. She's just habitually addicted to going to casinos. That's not, like, it just don't even, it boggles my brain the level that she took a habitual addiction. There's no physical addiction to her going to the casino. There's no, like, it's not like even like bulimia, there's a physical addiction there because you're addicted to the food, you're addicted to the sugar and caffeine. There's no physical addiction to gambling. But Gloria literally destroyed her children's life and almost lost her house and still was about to go 2 days ago gambling for something that is so stupid. I mean, it's so stupid. To just, like, she would be done in about 20 minutes with $200 too.
Okay, so just a couple things. You know, you got the mama bears out there. All the mama bears hate you.
Oh, I know, because they're probably not good moms.
No, right. So they're saying
they're awful moms
so
that defend. They think that you can never say something about a mom,
right,
which is insane. Because listen to this. How is a mom a different human being than someone else? So you're saying a mom can't make a mistake, that a mom can't be an awful person just because she gave birth to a child that makes her unhuman? So, like, she is not willing to have the same emotions and be like the same kind of like character as other people because there's awful other people. So you're saying just because when someone becomes a mom, all of a sudden she's a saint? That's what you're saying. Well, what if a mom was a heroin addict and killed her baby? What would you think of that? Would you still call her a good mom? Well, that's basically what Gloria did and said it was gambling, and I stepped in before she killed Annette.
It's so disgusting of Joy. It is so disgusting of Joy to just put down Gloria like this and be so petty. And did you hear her talking about the addictions and like the differences? Joy's addiction's okay. Bulimia's okay because you're addicted to the sugar. But gambling, no, that's horrible. The fact that she's even willing to say that is just disgusting.
So you can excuse her and say, I shouldn't talk bad about basically a heroin addict that killed her baby if I didn't step in. And said, let's replace it, it's gambling, and I stepped in before her daughter died. If it was a year from, right now, if I wasn't living here and we were all here and I hadn't stepped in, Annette would be dead. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Annette did not have a year left. Her teeth alone were insane. She couldn't take the pain of that anymore. And the fungus was crawling up her legs. She couldn't walk anymore. She was walking on her toes. And she would be screeching in pain and walking on her toes and screaming.
I'm going to stop that right there. Yes, Gloria needed help. You and Rich took all the money, destroyed the house, and took off to New York and Panama and robbed her before you went to Panama. Gloria needed help long ago, and you guys should have either stopped and helped her or got her help. To sit there and now point the finger and be like, bad mom, bad mom. You guys knew what was going on. You knew the whole time. But you can't, you're just going to play stupid. We had no idea. Whatever, Joy. That's sad.
Legs. She couldn't walk anymore. She was walking on her toes. And she would be screeching in pain and walking on her toes and screaming. So, anywho, so let's go see her now. See how she's doing now. Hi, Nat. How are you, baby? we all had really traumatic things happen, and we all came together as very broken individuals, and now like our brokenness is healing us. And Annette has a hard time expressing certain things to you guys, so I want to give backstory, so then when we're doing a blog with her, then you guys can ask some questions to her. But if you don't know some of the backstory too, so I need to sometimes do blogs to give some of the info that I can't talk about when she's in the room, because for one thing, she doesn't like particularly for us to talk about her very much, like without her being part. So it's like she doesn't want me talking about it that much when she's there, you know what I mean? And I don't like to talk behind her back too much either, but I have to, a little bit. But so we want it to be where you guys can ask things and then she can answer, and you can learn more about her, and also then she can express herself more, because she really has not been expressive in the last like 12 years, except for.
I just don't like when Joy goes on and on and on about what Annette needs and that she understands her so deeply, when I don't think Joy tries to. And I don't think Joy tries as much as they would like us to think.
Being yelling and stuff. So the beginning of the last blog, you could see where she was upset. That's how she was 24/7 before I stepped in. So if you guys are like not sure why it took so long, is I've been with the family for 12 years, and for 11 years Gloria kept me away from Annette, like literally kept me away. Like if we came over early on, we used to come over to the house, she would send Annette away. It was weird, like she never wanted Annette around. Gloria used to kick her out of the house all the time, like with a broom, like run her. If Annette started yelling, Gloria would chase her with a broom out of the house and tell her to get out of the house and stuff, and scare her and tell her she's gonna call the cops on her and throw things at her. I mean, Gloria was very, very violent. And when we first moved in, she was doing all this. So what happened when we first moved in is at first I just observed what was going on, because like I'm not going to step in someone's house and just change things. But what happened is we moved in because we needed to. There was a lot of things that occurred. We were living in Manhattan, and I always knew that they needed our help. So we've always been there financially for them. So we paid for Gloria for a lawyer for 2 years for her to try to get the house refinanced so that she could afford it, because it was originally, I think it was $2,000 a month, and that was too much for her, because she, like you said, I had said before, she only makes her 2,000 something. It's 2,000 something for Social Security, and then Annette gets 900 something, and her mortgage alone was 2,000. So we wanted to get it refinanced so that she could have it lowered, and she also had not been paying, so they were trying to get it out of foreclosure. So we hired these guys at Panda law firm. They're here in Vegas, and they did 2 years. We paid $600 a month. I did $600 a month for her to do that, and then they got an approval for it to get, I think it was like $1,300 or $1,400 a month, and we're like, good, okay, I mean, it's still a lot, but that's better. She can manage that. She didn't pay it. So, and I thought she was paying it. She's always lied to us. She's been lying to us for years, especially about her finances. So if you ask her right now, she will say she's been paying her mortgage all along. Like, you'll say, go ahead, did you not pay your mortgage? And, oh no, I always paid. And if you say you didn't, say, oh no, they're wrong. No, I paid. Oh, really? Because they were just going to foreclose on you and you had like 7 liens, and like your mortgage is, you owe more than when you guys bought the house. Like they bought it in, I want to say 2009. And she owes more now than when they originally bought it. And she was supposed to be paying like $2,000 a month every month for the last like 15 years or whatever. And I don't know how long it's been. But anyways, they bought it before I came into the house. So that's what I'm saying. I don't even know what year they bought it. And it should be almost paid off, or at least lowered. And so we did that. That was no good. So they lowered it, and then she didn't pay. And we thought she was paying. We thought she was paying for like 2 years. We thought she was paying. Because that was in 2018. I got her the lawyers, and they got that lowered. And I assumed she had been paying. And I just found out she wasn't paying her mortgage about a month before we moved in. And that was because we had to go into her account. She lies. She will lie to the end of the world about anything. She lies. So we had to go into her account. She'll let us in her account. It's weird. She will lie, but then she'll like give you access.
Why do they're so insistent on making Gloria a liar, but yet we know that Rich was the gambler. We know that Joy makes up stories about how people died. Like, they make up all these stories and then point the finger. And we know it's drugs and mental health and everything else. But those liens, what did Gloria spend that money on if she took all that money out against the house? No, it was Rich, especially if Rich paid for the house. it just, in the end, it never makes sense. But it sure is interesting
access
to
to her
watch
bank
them
account
lie.
where you can go and see that everything she's saying is a lie. And you're like, no, it says, oh, she won't believe her bank account. What they're saying, you haven't paid in the, the one thing said, like, she hadn't made a payment in like 2 years. And I showed her and I was like, oh no, that's lies, lies, lies. So we had done before we moved in. And that was because we had to go into her account. She lies. She will lie to the end of the world about anything. She lies, 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 lies. So we had to go into her account. She'll let us in her account. It's weird. She will lie, but then she'll like give you access to her bank account where you can go and see that everything she's saying is a lie. And you're like, no, it says, oh, she won't believe her bank account. What they're saying, you haven't paid in the, the one thing said, like, she hadn't made a payment in like 2 years. And I showed her and I was like, oh no, that's wrong. It's like, no, the U.S. Bank is saying you've not made your mortgage payment. No, they're wrong. I pay every month. Really? Everyone's wrong. Okay, sorry, I need to start reading these. Yeah, I know. Well, the problem is, okay, I know everyone is saying, oh, it's gonna be, Gloria has been this way her entire life. She's the greediest, most selfish lady you would ever meet. So she's only with this family because she was so greedy, because she was a Panamanian that found a wealthy American, and she tricked him into marrying her because he was seeing other women, because he had met her when he was 18 in Panama. He was in the Army, and or Navy. And he met Gloria, and she couldn't speak English, so there was a language barrier. So they just thought that they had a translator, and I think the translator was lying to him because she's not intelligent at all. And I don't mean to be mean. I mean, she doesn't try to learn. She has a resistance to learn. If you teach her anything, she just throws her arms up. She doesn't want to learn anything. So that makes her every year stupider. If you're 81 years old and you refuse to learn, you get dumber and dumber. And so this is not a new thing. She doesn't have amnesia. She doesn't have Alzheimer's. She just has refused to learn and sticks her head in the sand. And so it makes her stupider every year. And that's just what happens when people will not learn. You have to every year learn, because otherwise you're archaic thinking. So Gloria has archaic thinking. She will not get over the thing that she thinks caffeine and sugar are wonderful for Annette, and we've tried to express those things are not. She will not stop making pancakes. Even if I don't buy the pancake mix, she will make it with flour. She'll make something of a syrup. Like, I tried to not get syrup or pancake mix for a little bit so she'd stop making it, and we tried to not get cream of wheat because those are all just terrible things. That's Gloria wants cream of wheat and pancake mix every morning. That's what she wants for herself, and she insists on making it, but half the time she won't make it. But if we ever get her out of bed to ever make it, she will make, that's what she'll make. So like, if you get her out and if it's 2 p.m. out of bed, she's gonna make pancakes and cream of wheat. That's just what she's gonna make, and she's going to find a way to make it with sugar and flour. And she's so like resistant to anything. Like, you could say, hey, Annette likes this better. It doesn't matter. It's like she doesn't listen. So when I get upset and yell at her, which I rarely ever do and probably never will again, it's so frustrating. It doesn't do anything. It's because we have told her over and over very nicely. I mean, you guys, I do everything here. Gloria does nothing. She literally, I spoon feed her to cook a meal or something, like I said. But if you say, oh, wouldn't it be better if she just didn't cook? Then you wouldn't have to deal with this pancake thing. No, because Annette goes nuts if Gloria doesn't cook. So I'm stuck with Gloria doesn't want to cook, cooks horrible things, but if she doesn't cook, Annette freaks out and gets mad at me. And everyone's mad at me if Gloria doesn't cook every meal. But Gloria won't cook, so I have to rip Gloria out of bed to get her to cook the horrible food that we don't want for Annette. Otherwise, Annette gets mad and Annette's depressed. And so it's this whole vicious cycle of everything is that way with her. And Gloria, you know what she does every day? She sleeps till about 11. She's still asleep right now. Then she gets up and goes to a class at the club here that we have, which we don't have access to because only 2 people can have access. It's $1,000 a year if we want per person for other people to have access. So me and Richard don't get access. Gloria and Annette do, to a phenomenal club with tennis rackets, indoor pools, outdoor pools, free classes, free fitness things, a gym, everything. They have like a golf course, all this stuff we don't have access to, which is fine. That's fine. But she goes all day and sits at the pool and goes to these classes. And when she gets home, we try to get her to maybe cook something for Annette, only because Annette wants her to. Otherwise, I would do it all. If I do it, Annette will throw out my food. She wants it from Gloria, even though she likes my food better. This is the sick thing. This is the sick, twisted thing of this whole household, is it's all cycles around that Annette wants Gloria to be her mother, but Gloria doesn't want to be a mom. So I'm forcing Gloria to be a mother to Annette, even though she doesn't want to be. And it's only because Annette doesn't want me to fully take over because she thinks Gloria needs to be her mom. So I'm stuck in this cycle of like, how do I get the most resistant, stubborn, lazy, selfish person to get up to do stuff for her daughter, who wants her to not be pushed to do it either. So we have to kind of like slowly nudge her, hey, maybe get up. But she'll literally roll over. We'll say, hey, it might be time to make Annette breakfast. And she goes like, Annette, do you want breakfast? And Annette will always say no because she doesn't want to ever be a burden. So if you ever ask her if she needs something, she'll always say no. But you don't listen to that because you have to like know that she doesn't want to be a burden. So she'll say, no, I'm good. And then goes, okay, and roll over and go back to bed for another 3 hours. And this is what we deal with. She's still asleep. And I was cooking, but Annette started just throwing out everything I was cooking and getting mad. And so I can't cook for them. I cook for me and my husband. I can't cook for them because they get mad. And I can't clean out there. I also can barely clean Annette's room. This is the thing. I was, clean. She barely wants me in her room. So I go in there, and when she's gone, I try to sneak in there to clean her room as much as I can. But as soon as she comes, I have to bail out of her room because she is very much, she likes a little bit of people around her, but then she likes her seclusion. So, and she does not like you in her space if she wants to be in her space. So Gloria is her moment. I'll answer these in a second. I just had to get out a little bit, and then I'll start answering.
So, now that that's over, I think that's it's what we all talk about. Joy acts like she knows Annette, and that Annette talks to them, and that they know what is best for Annette. But Joy just admitted it right there. Annette's just agreeing with anyone because she doesn't want to bother anyone. It makes me sad that they tried to use Annette so much for this. Come here, buddy. It makes me sad that they tried to use Annette for this channel, right? And they tried to just take all this money from them when it might be Joy and Rich's fault that house is even the way it is, or that house is in foreclosure, or no, they're saving it now, but all the liens against it might be from Rich, and they just blame everything on an 81-year-old woman. And I think they're mean to her when the cameras are off too, and it's really sad. But that's the end of those, and I'm going to start going through all of my clips and live recordings and everything and organizing them. So yeah, there'll be more to come. So thank you for being here, and bye. Fantastic.